Is this fucking thing on? That's such a fucking cliche thing to say. Alright, it seems like things are working. Just gonna get myself completely fucking wasted. I'm a massive, absolute fucking lightweight, and I do not drink often at all. I'm sure some of you guys are fucking laughing at me like drunk after 3 fucking beers. I don't drink a lot. I'm a fucking stoner. You guys who have watched this channel for any amount of time, you know that I'm a fucking stoner. I feel the most appropriate video for me to do while I'm getting myself fucked up is this theory that I had about Elder Scrolls. It's a bit of a weird theory, but I'm sure you guys will be interested by it, and then let's just get the fuck into it. Enough of my fucking rambling on. Most people who have played the main quest of Skyrim have gone through the main storyline and headed down into fucking Blackreach. A lot of us who have played Skyrim for a long time have dealt with dwarven ruins, and we might not look over all the little details that can be found in places like Blackreach. I feel like even among all the dwarven ruins that kind of blend together, Blackreach was always something that stood out, and it's important because it's something that we all had to go through during the main quest to go get the fucking Elder Scroll. That's the name of the fucking game anyway. There's kind of an ignored part of Blackreach that doesn't get talked about much. I've always found it kind of intriguing. If you go in the center of Blackreach, you'll see what appears to be this, I guess the best way I could describe it in simple terms is it looks like sort of an artificial sun that seems to be providing light. It's actually the only reason that there's any light and any reason that you can see it all, because Blackreach, appropriately enough, is fucking black as shit. It's very fucking dark down there. To me, at least, it seemed incredibly out of place, and I started thinking up theories about this little sun, and I found it very interesting when I figured out, just through looking at the wiki, that when you use Unrelenting Force on this little sun, it actually summons a fucking dragon, and we should have this on screen right now. And I'm also told by another one of my friends, which I might also be able to include footage of this, but it's also shown in Elder Scrolls Online, so sort of weird sun-like orb is a pretty consistent thing that happens whenever they depict Blackreach. No one really talks about it that much, and in Skyrim, when you use Unrelenting Force on this strange little fucking sun, one of the fucking dragon shouts, you can actually summon a fucking dragon. It's pretty strange because the dragon doesn't exist anywhere within Blackreach prior to that. Once you shout at the object, it suddenly appears out of nowhere, and all of a sudden you're fighting a fucking dragon in a place where it seems like there should be no fucking dragons because they're all supposed to be resurrected. It's not like anything happened to resurrect this dragon, but well, I've got a bit of a theory about that. This sun in the middle of Blackreach is sort of like a soul gem, but for dragon souls. If you look at the color of a dragon soul, when you actually absorb it into yourself within this game, you'll see that it's pretty much the same color as the fucking orb. It looks like it could actually be an orb full of fucking dragon souls. It looks a lot like it could kind of be a soul gem for dragon souls, or a machine sort of containing dragon souls for some type of purpose, fueling, I don't know, some type of device or something, and I found it very interesting, so I looked more into it. What I found, what could be coincidences, but could also be something that could play together into something a little bit more. The first thing that I want to bring up has to do with Akatosh, who's the dragon god of time, basically the sire of all the fucking dragons. He's the reason why the dragons fucking exist. And not only that, but Akatosh is also the reason why the Dragonborn exists. Another name for Akatosh is Auriel, which is essentially the elven version of Akatosh. You know, a bit of a different interpretation, but at the end of the day, it's the same fucking being, just a different interpretation. So what we have here is a deity which is essentially, you know, associated with not only dragons, but also the sun, because it also happens to line up with the fact that, well, there's a ton of fucking Falmer surrounding this thing. As we see, not only just through the lore, but within Skyrim itself in the Dawnguard expansion, Auriel was worshipped by the fucking Falmer back when they were the Snow Elves. Before they fucking degenerated into the race that they are now, they worshipped Auriel, and they had a very close connection with Auriel, as we can see in the expansion. And it's very interesting because this structure is absolutely fucking swarming with Falmer. I thought about this for a little bit, and I was trying to think about the reasoning for it. I was like, why are there so many Falmer here? The first conclusion I reached about it was maybe they're all surrounding this thing and the buildings around it because they need it to see. But then I realized, oh, wait a minute, the Falmer are fucking blind. All the Falmer and Blackreach are surrounding this device, which seems to have some sort of connection to the deity that they used to fucking worship. It's very interesting how all these things tend to line up, and I also feel like, you know, it could be an artifact basically created by the dwarves, not just just as a soul gem, but it could also turn dragon souls into a fuel source. I feel like that could be a very interesting take. Like, what if this thing is actually some sort of device used to use dragon souls as a fuel source or keep them in a prison in some sort of way? This reminds me of a quote that's actually brought up in the Skyrim loading screens. It's one of the loading quotes. But our brethren, the Dwemer, scorned by the Daedra, mocked our foolish rituals. Now, I've never seen it stated that explicitly the dwarves also shunned the Daedra, but if this was the case, I would argue that this could have been actually a device that was made in defiance of Akatosh, or, you know, maybe even more appropriately, made in defiance of Auriel, who the snow elves worshipped. Because think about it, the dwarves were trying to control the snow elves. They were the ones who turned the Falmer into what they are today, just basically made them a slave race, which was entirely subservient to them. What more appropriate way to break someone's willpower than defy their god and take a bit of their power from them and use that as a fuel source even more? It's a very interesting theory. There's just a lot of coincidences here that seem to line up with maybe this was actually a device used by dwarves to control the snow elves and make use of dragon souls, because as we know, they had technology which was way more advanced than any fucking race on Tamriel. There's still not a lot of shit that we know about the dwarves. That's because they fucking disappeared years ago and we still don't know why that fucking happened. Maybe it was tied to this somehow. Maybe this is a small piece of that. That's just an interesting theory I want to put out there. I also think that if you look at the stained glass interpretation of Akatosh, you'll see a very similar object being held in his hands. I believe it's in Oblivion. I'll include it not only in the thumbnail for this video, but I'll also include it on the video itself. I'll send an image to my editor. You guys can see the comparison for yourselves. Maybe I'm a complete fucking crackpot right now. Maybe I'm acting like the fucking Alex Jones of Elder Scrolls or some type of shit like that. Maybe I'm just fucking drunk. Auriel, the dragons, the Falmer, all these things coming into play, and the Dwemer, and how they didn't respect the gods at all. They considered themselves to be the first and foremost priority. I just find it fucking interesting how all these things seem to line together. There's no dragon at all, then you shout at this random object and a dragon comes out of nowhere. It's almost like the dragon came out of this object or something like that. I brought this up to my other friends who know Elder Scrolls lore, and I really want their interpretation on it. I want you guys to drop down your opinions down below. There's a lot of things in Skyrim that have no fucking explanation at all, just like this, so I'd like to do more fucking theory videos like this and just kind of speculate. And not only that, but I have videos coming out, unused plot lines and fucking cut content, you know, giving my creative input. I do want to get out another fucking WoW video eventually. You guys let me know what you want me to do, what kind of content you want me to make, and I'll take it into consideration. Thank you guys very much for listening to this. If you have any ideas, drop them down below. Have a good fucking evening. Stay toasty.